Now, as I said, China is the world's biggest energy consumer, and its energy consumption has grown dramatically in line with a similar growth in its economy. Between 2005 and 2010, China's demand for energy went up nearly 50% in response to this rapid economic expansion. A very substantial increase, clearly. And consequently, over a similar period of time, a large number of power plants were built in order to meet this increased demand. A number of these older power plants are now quite inefficient, and China wants to close them down and replace them with more energy-efficient plants. Many small and medium-sized power plants can also be quite inefficient, and there are issues around pollution here too. The Chinese government has a plan to replace these smaller plants with larger, more energy-efficient coal-fired power stations, such as the one in Beihua, which is Asia's largest coal-fired power station. Now, while the solution may not address the fundamental issue of increased energy consumption overall, or the longer-term environmental impact, it does improve energy production in the short term. In the long term, China recognizes the need to limit its energy use and intends to put a cap on energy growth. An energy cap, therefore, is a maximum limit placed on the amount of energy used. The annual growth in energy consumption has been around 8% on average. In 2010, the rate of energy consumption was 3.25 billion tons of coal, or the equivalent, per year. China acknowledges that the demand for energy is still going to increase over the coming decades. But nonetheless, they've set a cap of just over 4 billion tons of coal, or the equivalent, per year. This will reduce energy consumption, or the level of increase in energy consumption each year, to below 5%. However, it still means the annual consumption will be higher than at present, and it would still make China one of the largest, if not the largest, energy consumer in the world. Now, as we know, China has rapidly become one of the world's most important economies, dominating the production of a huge range of goods and achieving economic growth rates in excess of 10% year on year. So it's perhaps not surprising, therefore, that China is once again approaching this new challenge in an entrepreneurial way. As I mentioned earlier, on a micro level, China has decided to shut down its less efficient power plants and replace them with new, more energy-efficient facilities. However, on the macro level, China aims to use climate change to encourage the development of emerging technologies as well. Like many other countries, they plan to invest in new energy technologies such as wave power, wind power and solar energy from the sun. In terms of transportation, China has also seen significant growth in the number of cars on the road, and therefore they're looking at the large-scale development of electric vehicles, more energy efficient, less polluting, and not reliant on oil. And in terms of agriculture, food production, China is also investing in biotechnology with the aim of developing more energy-efficient food crops. The question is, of course, will these newer technologies be able to make up for the proposed reduction in the use of conventional energy sources? These are all fairly small-scale technologies. At the moment, there are concerns about efficiency, about cost, and whether it will be possible to make them work on a larger scale. When China began its process of reform and adopted a more open economic policy, one of the things it did was to create a number of special economic zones. These were specific areas of the country that were given the job of pushing forward China's economic growth. In other words, China was looking for local solutions to a national problem or a national issue. And in the same way, China is now looking for local solutions to the national and international issue of energy consumption, of energy efficiency. So, the government has selected 5 provinces and 8 cities around the country to be the first to introduce low carbon development. Each province and city is being encouraged to create plans for medium and long-term development aimed at reducing energy use in their local area. The government intends to support low carbon innovations in these areas, special industrial parks, residential communities, and specific products and services. So it's putting a lot of money and resources into the initiative. One example of this is Tianjin Eco City in the northeast of the country. This is an innovative approach, and it has worked for China in the past. However, some critics have suggested that too many resources will be concentrated in certain areas and that other parts of the country will fall behind as a result.